you were going to some big place in Europe next week, and then all of a sudden you dropped your camera or something happened to your camera, then they do, once you're signed up with those services, they do free loans. Like if you send in your camera to Nikon or Sony, they'll send you a loaner. They expedite your repair. And there's a lot of, they also have a lot of like on the Canon, Sony, and Nikon side, they have a lot of great learning resources that are very specific to your camera. So they'll have, so look into that. I can't remember what Sony's one's called off the top of my head. I think it's called Sony Pro as well. I think the Sony Pro, Canon Pro, and then Nikon's one is called MPS, Nikon Professional Services. Um, but I encourage a lot of my students who aren't professional photographers to sign up for it. There's different tiers, there's packages, like there's ones that cost money, but if you get the free one, it gives you enough where basically if your camera was broken, you jump straight to the top of the line.
Hmm.
So, and they send you a loaner, which is really nice. Rather than you have to pay for one from Glades or Kenmore Camera from the store. So that's just a little bit of housekeeping. Um, anyway, so today we're going to focus on. Hey, Catherine, are you there? Or
Yes,
hey, do you want to see if you can turn your webcam on, please?
sure.
Down here. There we go. Hi, good morning. Well, you've got
Hi.
lovely, lovely light coming through you. Look at the
Oh.
lovely the rim lighting on your hair. Heavenly, heavenly light coming from the. Although the iPhone hates, just move your head for a second, Catherine. Just move your head. Yeah,
Okay.
go to the side. Okay, look how the outside of or the sun is bright white,
Oh
right?
my gosh.
So
Yeah.
the sun is bright white because the webcam doesn't
Hmm.
have enough dynamic range to be able to handle that. So it basically can't see enough light. So it's optimized it for Catherine, but that
Hmm.
means the sky has gone bright white. Can anyone
Hmm.
remember if I was taking a picture and I was looking at Catherine and I wanted to get that window and the sun not so overexposed using an iPhone? I'm going to focus on iPhones today. Can anyone remember how to essentially tell the camera, the iPhone, to expose for the highlight so the sun doesn't get blown out? Anyone got any ideas?
Don't you focus on the light
So how would you do that?
You put
with
your
the
finger in
automatic
the square.
focus
Yeah.
spot?
Good. So that's step number one. So step number one is tap on the highlight. Even
Hmm.
better, tap and hold. One, two, three, and get that thing that says AEAF lock, auto exposure, auto focus lock. That's you telling the camera, this is the most important thing, the highlight. I don't want it bright white. We know if you took a picture of the sun and it was bright white and you entered it into a GCA show, they'd throw it out because they'd say highlight was overexposed, as most good photographers would do. So step number one is do that. As a reminder, when you do that, on the right of you can all try pointing at something in your room. On the right of the yellow square that appears is a teeny, I mentioned this in the last class, but I'm just reminding you because I
The
haven't
little
spoken about it.
sun.
It's a little sun, yeah. And you can just take your finger maybe an inch or 2 inch. You don't have to press on the sun. And if this was the sun, you take your finger kind of here off to the side and you pull up or down. And that is the iPhone's what's called exposure compensation,
Hmm.
which again you will have on your cameras. But that's again relatively new to an iPhone. We never used to have the ability to be able to do that. And that is especially useful when you're in a situation like Catherine's room, as the light is now, and you're trying to balance the light. If you just point the camera at it, and don't do anything, it's gonna give you kind of a halfway house. Like the house will be a bit dark, the sun will be too bright. Especially relevant, like if you go to the beach one night or anywhere and you're photographing a sunset, the first two things I would say to do from the technical perspective is always tap on the sun, take down, like as in tap on the physical sun, the sun you're looking at, and then take down the sun, take down the exposure compensation until the highlight is correctly exposed. Now, depending on what iPhone you have, as the iPhones are like getting better and better and newer, they are getting more dynamic range. Who can remember what dynamic range means?
Light, light, light.
Yeah, what about light?
It's the amount of light in
Good.
the
Really good, Suzette. So it's the amount of light that our camera can see. And if you imagine my hands are the amount of light that the camera can see, like an iPhone 12 is like this, an iPhone 17 is like this. So, and it's just because they're improving the quality of the sensor. So what that means is when you're in these high dynamic range scenes, HDRs, you hear me talk about them again and again, that most of the time, if you've got a good iPhone, 15, 16, maybe above 15, the camera is going to have a big enough dynamic range that even though you set it on the sun, the foreground is not going to look black. It's not going to be completely underexposed. Kind of like look at Charlie's background. So Charlie's background is a good high dynamic range scene. And like did you take that picture, Charlie, behind you?
Yes.
Yeah, so Charlie did a really nice job of exposing for the highlight, which was the sky. And then if you look at the foreground there, the dock, it's gone pretty dark. It's gone dark because the dynamic range like got shifted to the highlights, to the bright parts, to the beautiful sunset, and left kind of the dock back here as a silhouette, which works in this picture. If Charlie had wanted the dock to be like lit up, essentially, you'd be able to lift the shadows, then you have to do that afterwards on an iPhone. The iPhone will never get that. It will probably in 5 years, but it won't at the moment. It doesn't have a big enough range, which is the same as our cameras. You all know that if the dynamic range exceeds a certain threshold, Joanne, what do you have to do? If you can't get it all in one shot, that's the clue.
I was not listening right.
Okay, hold on. We'll ask someone
I
else.
was-
Let's ask Catherine. Okay. Oh, either Catherine Parker or Catherine.
Oh, yeah, Catherine Allen will do it.
I defer. Will you repeat the question, please?
That's
Yeah, so hold on. So this is open to the group. Okay, if you have a high dynamic range scene,
Right.
i.e. you're shooting into the sun, and you take your picture and the sun is correctly exposed, but the foreground still looks too dark for your liking, what do you have to do on your cameras, not your iPhones? What do you have to do on your cameras? And the clue is, in one photo, you can't capture all of the dynamic range. Anyone got any ideas?
Stack
Taking
'em.
another photo.
Beverly got an idea?
I don't have a clue.
Okay, I'm going to try
You
and
mean like stack? You mean stack them or?
close, really close. Someone to help her out.
Expose for the darkest part so that it's no.
No, I think
Those for the highlights.
the clue is in one photo, you can't get all the light. So what do we have to do? The technique begins with
Take
B.
another.
Oh,
The technique begins with B.
Bracket.
Bracket.
yeah.
There we go. We got there.
Exactly.
We got there in the end. So bracketing is the technique when a camera takes more than one photo at different exposures, and then you put them all together to create something called an HDR image, high dynamic range. And to bring this back to iPhone, because today we're focusing on the iPhone, what's neat is when we went through the settings in like lesson 1 of this series, and I made you set up, we went through all the menus and I made you turn things on and turn things off. One of the things that I made sure was on all of your cameras is every iPhone now has built into it something called HDR mode, high dynamic range mode. What that means is if the camera, and you can kind of see this if you look at Jenny's sky going white, and then she moves, like go to write your notes, Jenny. She like moves her head a tiny bit, and then the sky goes blue again, and then she moves her head again, and the sky's going to go white because it's trying to balance that really big dynamic range.
Yeah.
And is having a hard time. You see that, how the camera, how the background behind her is changing? The iPhone has now some software built into it that if I was photographing out of Jenny's window now, it would pick up that that is a scene where it cannot capture all of the light in one frame. And I can't recreate this for you because I'm not in a high dynamic range scene, but I'll just tell you. You point it at the scene, whatever you're pointing it at, the iPhone, and you will see in yellow at the top, it just appears, kind of like how the macro flower just appears if you move your camera closer to things, which is another thing we set up. You'll see the three letters HDR in yellow. And what the iPhone does, unlike our cameras, is the iPhone, without you realizing, takes a number of different photos behind the scenes. You don't see it happen. And then it puts them all together for you. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. And again, that was always a big hurdle with the iPhone, and something that people always found frustrating, and any other phone camera, was the ability to be able to capture large dynamic range. It was notoriously bad at that. It's still not as good as your cameras, especially those who've got the high-end cameras, but it's pretty darn good now at being able to sense when you're in a high dynamic range scene, take those pictures without you realizing, and then put them all together. But the key that you have to do, to bring it back to the beginning of the conversation, is you have to expose for the highlight. You have to tap on the brightest thing. If I was looking at Jenny, I would tap on that sky behind her. If Jenny left, she got up from her chair and she walked away, the webcam would recalibrate. You don't have to do it, Jenny, but the webcam would recalibrate and you'd be able to see all the mountains and the sky behind her. It's kind of trying to balance her and the sky, and it's kind of in a middle ground. Okay? So something to look out for when you see those letters H, and they don't pop up that often, but when they pop up HDR, you know it means high dynamic range. And that just means that the camera has taken more than one picture on an iPhone and has put them all together. It's on every single iPhone, even if you've got an iPhone 12, doesn't matter. It's just the amount of light that's captured in each single frame is far bigger as the iPhones get newer. Okay, that makes sense to everyone. And that's a situation that I get asked about the whole time, is how do I shoot a sunset with an iPhone? How do I shoot a rainbow with an iPhone? Same thing. Like, you're going to have something that's really bright and potentially something that the camera thinks is really dark. You always tap on the bright thing. The only reason not to do that, and we'll look at that and look at some settings in a minute, is if you were taking a picture of me and the sunset was behind me. Or you're taking a picture of your dog and the sunset is behind your dog. If you're taking a picture of me and the sunset is behind me, arguably you care more about me than you do about the sun. So if you tap on the sun, I'm going to go out of focus. Maybe. Not always. It depends how far away I am from you. But you're at risk of putting me out of focus, even though you get the sun looking great. And also then I just become a silhouette. I become like Charlie's dog. I'd just be like totally dark. So generally in landscape photography, I always teach the phrase expose for the highlights. But if you're doing any type of portrait or photographing like a thing, the thing could be a flower, the thing could be a person, the thing could be a dog, doesn't matter. Then we switch the phrase and we say expose for the subject. And that's like spot metering, for those of you familiar with your camera, as a reminder. And again, it's so easy to do on an iPhone. All we have to do is tap and hold on the subject, just not tap and hold on the highlight. But if you're photographing a landscape, a beach, a sunset, you always tap on the sun. Or like in Charlie's situation, you tap on the nice bright, like the nice, beautiful pink and blue and orange sky up there. You just find some clouds and tap on them. That makes sense to everyone. One other thing I'll just mention when I'm thinking about Charlie's sky and focusing on an iPhone. The iPhone, kind of like every camera, but the iPhone especially, finds it very hard to focus unless there's a definitive edge. And by an edge, I mean that there's like a line or something in your photo where there is some differentiation between light and dark. If you point your iPhone straight at a blue sky and try to focus it, and there are no clouds in the sky, it's going to have a really hard time because there's no edge. Even if you had one cloud in the sky, you ideally, in order to get the sharpest photo that you can possibly get on an iPhone, you want to put your square on the edge. I'll draw a diagram here. Hold on one second. Let me just share something. Let's just share screen. I'll show you. Okay, so share this quickly. So I'm just going to draw a sketch just so you can see. So imagine here's our frame. Everyone can see the screen, right? You can see the tortoise. Okay, so here's our frame. Ignore the tortoise. Don't worry about him. And this is all blue sky. Okay, up here, it's all blue sky. Okay, if you try and tap into that blue sky and put the yellow square in here, you're not going to focus. It's not going to work. You may get lucky, 5 out of 10, but you're definitely not in as much control as I'd want you to be. Instead, if we even just had like 2 clouds in the sky, again, a common mistake that people would do is they would put their yellow square right in the middle of one of the clouds.
All white, yeah.
The iPhone doesn't like that. It will get it semi-sharp, but it won't get it we generally want to strive for what's called a tap sharp picture, which is like, if you printed it out, it looks razor sharp. So instead of putting it in the middle of the cloud, I want you to put it on an edge. Doesn't matter which cloud, but I want you to find an edge. That's going to give you a much sharper photo than if you stick it like in the middle of the cloud or in the middle of the ocean. The same with the ocean. Let's say you're photographing the ocean. I'd want you to put it on the waves, like where a wave is breaking or where there's some type of contrast in the water, rather than just like stick it in the middle of the ocean where it's just like all the same color. The camera, it will still, unlike a normal camera, it will let you take the picture, but when you look at it afterwards, it won't be as sharp as I would want it to be. Okay, so few good things there. Expose for the highlight. If there's a sunset is the most common example. Expose for the subject. If you're taking a picture, I'm going to just put it under a broad umbrella of things. Things can be people, food, dogs, horses, anything where you care about like the main thing, and then you have a background behind it. And then the third thing is just general good iPhone focusing etiquette is to always find an edge. That's how the algorithm in the iPhone is designed to work. It's constantly looking for an edge. And if you don't tap on it, let's just say you point your iPhone at a scene and you don't do the tap. What the iPhone does behind the scenes without you realizing is it finds the biggest, brightest edge in your photo, and that's what it focuses on. And what happens a lot in pictures I see, and because Apple don't really do a good job of teaching people how to use the camera like straight out of the box, is you take a picture and what you intend, let's just say there was a waterfall and there was a mountain behind it, and you wanted to get a good picture of the waterfall. Draw a terrible waterfall here. So here's my waterfall, okay, and here's like a load of mountains behind it, okay, and you care about the waterfall. If the sun happens to be up here and is like casting really nice light on the mountain and you don't tap on the waterfall, the mountains will end up being sharp and the waterfall won't, even if the waterfall is closer to you. The iPhone loves hunting for big, bright, easy edges to focus on. You notice this a lot if you've taken a picture out of an aeroplane and you're near a wing, like the wing of the aeroplane. If you're ever sitting close to the wing, if you don't tap on, you're trying to take a picture of the ground, if you don't tap on the ground, 100% of the time, the wing will be the sharp thing and the ground will be blurry. Because the wing is white and bright and easy for the iPhone to focus on. That's hopefully a good example that you guys can think about. So we have to make sure that we focus the phone. Same with using our camera. It all comes down to intention. It's like
Adam, just a little off topic, but is the Lightroom photo the same way, camera the same way?
Yeah, I'm actually going to talk, we're going to talk today. We're going to spend most of the time talking about Lightroom. Yeah, I'm going to show you some stuff, but yes.
But on the Lightroom camera.
Yeah, it's exactly.
Okay, we can do that another time. It's just curious.
No, I remember I teed everyone up the last time. You may remember I said you've all got Lightroom and I'm going to show you next time how to use Lightroom. So we're going to dive into Lightroom a little bit in about 10 minutes. But yes, the difference with the Lightroom app, unlike the Apple one, which you've heard me talk about before, but it's worth repeating, and there's some people here who haven't heard it, is the Lightroom app on top of like using everything that the Apple camera can do, just ultimately gives you a lot more control. Especially when it comes to changing settings. Settings by settings, I mean things like shutter speed, things like ISO. You can't change that in the native Apple camera app. Okay. Anyone got any questions on any of that? Exposing for the subject, exposing for the highlight, making sure that we drag the sun up and down. Okay, great, good. So I'm actually going to plug in my phone today, and we're gonna walk through some stuff in the Lightroom app primarily that you don't need. But to set that up as a reminder, you essentially have two ways of taking photos on your iPhone. You've all got this, I hope, by now. So you have, and I just want to kind of draw it out so it's really clear and everyone understands, and as well for the people on the recording. So you have your Apple camera. That's the standard one. That's the one everyone uses who's never had a photography lesson. There's nothing wrong with using that, but we know that if we use I'll do this in a different color. If we use the Lightroom camera, which is within the Lightroom app, then it's going to give us a number of different things. So the Apple camera gives us no control over settings. Sorry, I should have done these in different colors. And this one gives us control over settings. Let's just put ISO shutter. I'm drawing this out, so if you want to take a picture, you can take a picture of it. So that's number one. Number two is the Apple camera keeps, sometimes it's advantageous, but it keeps photos in Apple ecosystem. So by that, I mean, when you take a photo, as you know, it comes and everyone's got a Mac here, right? Is there anyone on a PC? Anyone on a PC?
I have a PC.
Oh, Suzette's got a PC. Okay, so other than Suzette, for all of you, when you take a picture on your iPhone, you don't have to do anything, and it comes into Apple Photos on your computer, which is the normal. Well, it's not even called Apple Photos; it's just called Photos. It's the flower rainbow. The problem is with Apple Photos is it's very beginner. Like the stuff you can do on it is very, very limited. It's nice because, yeah, you can make an album, you can quickly send it to someone, but you can do all of that in Lightroom as well. So the difference inherently is when you use Lightroom camera, oops, just realized I missed an A off here, camera. When you use the Lightroom camera, then it does almost the opposite. So it keeps photos in Lightroom ecosystem, which for all of you means that the photos go to your Lightroom Classic automatically. And the difference between Apple Photos and Lightroom Classic is like monumental. It's like 100 times what you can do with Photos, what you can do in Apple Photos. So what I usually tell people to do, some of you may have heard me say this again, but it's worth repeating, is whenever you're taking a picture just to like document life, sometimes that's receipts, sometimes that's letters, sometimes that's the back of a box of cereal, whatever you're taking a picture of, then I would always use the Apple camera, because I don't need to really do much with that stuff, not like serious photography. And it keeps everything simple. Like I just tap on the cereal box, I tap on the letter, I tap on the receipt, I take a picture, and it goes into my Apple Photos. This is my way of doing it. You don't have to follow, but this is what I find works best and works best for most of my students. for anything serious or anything where you're like, I'm going out to a botanical gardens, I'm going out on a photo walk, I'm going out to try to take a picture for a contest. I want to take a lovely picture of my dog that I want to put on a holiday card, whatever it may be. For all of that, I want you to use the Lightroom camera on your iPhone. Because of this, because of number one, because you can totally control the settings, which you can't do on the Apple camera. And two, we know that they're going to very naturally come into your Lightroom Classic on your computer. And Suzette, this is true for you as well. It doesn't matter if you're on an Apple or a PC. Once you're in the Lightroom ecosystem, it's the same. Then they're going to come in there, and then you're going to, if you want to make a book, you're going to make a book. If you want to send them to friends, you're going to send them to friends. If you want to make it black and white, you can make it black and white. There's just, not that you can't do some of that stuff in Apple Photos. It's just looking at it from professional. If Apple Photos is a 1 out of 10, or maybe a 2 out of 10, Lightroom is not a 10 out of 10. There's always stuff that can improve, but it's an 8 or a 9. It's significantly better. So that's kind of breaking it down and thinking, and what most people get confused about is they'll go and take a picture in the Lightroom camera, and then they'll go to their photos on their phone, and they'll be like, I don't have the photos. I've lost them. I messed something up. They never get to that side. They always stay. You can export them, and I'll show you how to do it in a minute, because sometimes we do want to put them from there onto our kind of Apple ecosystem. But when you take things in the Lightroom ecosystem, they stay in the Lightroom ecosystem. When you take things in the Apple ecosystem, they stay in the Apple ecosystem. In fact, Apple and Adobe don't really like each other very much. So they purposely try to make it so you can't kind of commingle the two sets of photos. But in a way, that's really advantageous, because you just know any serious photography, I use my Lightroom camera. Any documenting life, random pictures that I take throughout the day, that's the Apple camera. And what I encourage people to do, if you haven't already, is take the Lightroom app on your iPhone, as in scroll to it, hold like down on the actual icon. You guys probably know this, and then it will like start wobbling, so you can move it. And then I always tell people, move the Lightroom camera to page 1, like put it front and center, so that you're not suddenly, oh my goodness, I'm out and I see this lovely bloom of flowers and I want to take a picture and I want to actually spend 5 minutes with it rather than just snapshot. You don't have to scroll through your iPhone trying to find the Lightroom app. It also is a good cue for you. It's a good reminder that the Lightroom app is there and the camera is there, and they're both kind of front and center on page 1. So move, if you haven't already, find the app on your phone. You just literally hold on it for about 3 seconds. It starts kind of jiggling, and then you can just pick it up with your finger and you can just move it towards page 1 and then let it settle on page 1. Little good tip as a cue to help you remember to use it, because otherwise a lot of people forget. Okay, everyone managed to do that? To find the Lightroom app. Let me see if I can mirror my phone. I can do it at the same time for you. Hold on. Oops. Supposed to come up here for a sec. Oh, before I turn this off, just if you want to take a pic, if anyone wants to take a picture of that, make sure you got it, because it's going to go in a second. So taking a picture of this, for example, I would do it on the Apple camera, not on the Lightroom one. Because this is just documenting. This is just something useful that I need, but it's not something that I necessarily need living in my Lightroom. The other thing is, we'll delve a bit more deep into it in a minute, is when the majority of time when you take a photo on your Lightroom app, the photo you take is much bigger. So it takes up more space on your iPhone. Well, that's good, because I want a really big file if I'm taking a beautiful picture of a sunset over a landscape, but I don't need a massive file to take a picture of Adam's like drawing. As in, you could look at it and it may be for every 1 photo you're taking 4 photos. It's almost 4 times the size of a standard Apple photo the minute you start using RAW in Lightroom. Okay? And then everyone got that? What they need?
May I ask?
Yeah, of course.
I'm sorry, I'm just so new at this. When you said go to Lightroom and hold it, now you go back to the apps and you press on Lightroom, is that right?
Well, firstly, you have to make sure that you have the app downloaded on your phone.
Yes, I do now.
So once you've got the app downloaded on your phone, let me mirror my screen. I'll be able to show you. Let's just let me just quickly mirror my screen here. You should hopefully be able to see in a second. One sec. Let me show you my phone. Okay, hold on.
You have to wait till all the other little apps start jiggling.
Wiggle.
Yeah, wiggling exactly. So I'm just going to connect so I can show you. Okay, so hopefully I can recreate this here. Let's see. So here's my phone. Okay, now I have my, but if I hold on them, then I can move them around. Now you'd be doing this with your finger. So you'd find the app that you want, which would be Lightroom. You'd hold on it, they all start jiggling like this, and then you can.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah.
And like, here's my Lightroom one. See if it will let me take it out. I don't think it will let me do it off my. You can also, what's really handy as well is you can put apps into folders. So, which you may or may not know, but if you drag one app on top of the other, so if I drag Instagram into here, it puts it into a folder here. You can see there, I've got like finance, I've got this, I've actually already got a photography one. So here's all these are photography apps that I sometimes use. I just made a second one moment, but you can name this like photo app, or like, let's just say creative tools. So if you want to be really organized, you can drag one app on top of the other that are both the same. Let's say you took the Apple camera, which I don't even have up here, but you have the, and I don't think it'll let me go. Oh, there we go. Okay, so you can see, look, I got tons of apps. Look at all these hundreds of apps. Most of them I never like, or if I need them, I search for them. But everything that I use every day is up here basically. And that's like, for me, I take almost all my photos in the Lightroom camera. Like, I don't need YouTube TV in there, so I can drag it out. And if I wanted to, I could actually take, I'll show you. So let me click on this. I'll take Lightroom out of here. I'll take Instagram out of here. And then I could, come on, take Instagram. So you'd be doing all of this with your finger. And then I would just drag that into Creative Tools like that. Take Instagram out. It doesn't want to go out. But it's quite nice. This is called stacking. So it stacks the apps on top of each other for organization. So just a small, and then when you're done, you just like, when you're happy with how everything's moved, you just hit done on the top right-hand corner. And that fixes it. And now if I want my photography apps, here's all my photography apps. If I want my, I don't know, my finance apps, I open my finance, whatever. Okay. You've also got, there's something called widgets, which is, actually, I'm not going to go into that today because it's not that relevant. Okay. That makes sense to everyone. Everyone managed to do that. Okay, good. So while I've got this open, let's go into the Lightroom app. We'll go in together. Okay. And I'm going to close it.
Oh, come on.
So you should, everyone's got the Lightroom app on their phone now, right? Okay, so,
Mine just says welcome.
okay.
Mine
So just
says no photos found.
That's okay, because you've never taken it. So Charlie, if yours says welcome, just kind of say thank you or get started, or there's probably something that says like sign in, or there's a way of doing it. You don't even need to sign in. You can probably skip for now. There's probably the opportunity to skip. And even if you can't get it right now, don't worry, because you're going to have the recording and you can watch this when you've got it. But the Lightroom interface is comprised of two parts on your phone. One is the ability to be able to view photos, which is what I'm looking at here. And two is the ability to be able to take photos. We're going to spend some time on both of those. Exactly like most of you are used to doing on your computer with Lightroom, you can organize photos, you can rate photos, you can give it a star, you can give it a flag, same as you can do on your computer. And the really nice thing is anything that you do here, once you've taken a picture, automatically happens on your computer. So if I turn this giraffe black and white, when I go to my computer, he'll be black and white. If I crop it, the crop will copy over onto my computer.
And
So
there's nothing you have to do to communicate those things
It's a great
to make
question.
it happen?
The only thing that you have to do is you have to make sure that your Lightroom Classic on your computer, which should happen and when you originally, like the screen Charlie's at the moment, when you should, in fact, I'll show you, if you hit the three dots up here and I go to app settings, you can see here that it says my name and there's my email address. As long as you're signed in with the same account on your phone and on your computer, they automatically talk to each other. And my guess is all of you only have one Adobe account. You're going to have one email address and one password that you set up at some point when you got Lightroom. And you have to make, so if I click on this, let's have a look. So look, it's showing me that I'm signed. Now you don't have to, you can use this without even having a Adobe account. But if you've got an Adobe account, in order to get them talking to each other, you have to be signed in with the same username and password. It's exactly the same as Apple. Like if you're familiar with like iCloud and you've seen iCloud, you have an iCloud password, you have an iCloud password for your computer, and you have an iCloud password for your phone. They're the same. And it will be the same email address. So it communicates through the account, Susan. That makes sense?
How do you
Does.
get past the three dots that say select grids, square grid?
Yeah, that's what mine's
grid?
saying. Mine's doing the same thing.
Tell me where you guys are. Tell me where you guys are.
Go down to app settings.
Yeah, so look, if I go,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Now I've got it. Now I've got it. Thank you.
can you
And
you
then
guys
once
can you
once
see
you
my
click there,
okay, so click app settings,
yeah.
okay, and then look at my
Where's app settings?
okay, so watch me everyone. So down at the bottom, and it may not be exactly the same because there's a few different versions, but you're going to have something along the line of device Lightroom community. Some of you it says slightly different. I want you to
No.
click on the one that says Lightroom if you can, down at the bottom.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Then on the I'm going to see if this lets me draw. Can you see that if I draw? Does that work?
Yes.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I can draw on my phone. This is good. So on the top right-hand corner, you'll see three horizontal dots up there. And I want you to click on them. And when you click on them, this menu is going to appear. Don't worry about all of this for the time being, but I want you to go all the way down to the bottom to where it says app settings.
I have manage access in settings, but no photos found.
Don't worry, that's because you haven't taken any photos in it yet.
Right, with this.
So don't worry about that for the time being. But
Okay.
if you click on app settings, you should get a menu that looks like this.
I don't have app settings.
Me either.
You guys
It's at
should.
the-
You guys sure
It
you're
says about Lightroom.
So hold on.
No.
So we're going to click on the three
Well,
dots.
manage access in settings. Mine says manage access and go
Oh,
to settings.
That's because
There
you've
we
got it. That's a good.
Yeah.
You've got to go into the actual settings of your. You've got to go like into the main iPhone settings, and you've got to find the Lightroom app, and you've got to allow access for it to like get to your photos.
Mine says subscription expired.
Well, there we go. So you don't have an account anymore. So that doesn't
Oh.
matter. That doesn't. So when I click on mine, you see my name and it says you're subscribed, right? Here. If it says
Uh-huh.
subscription expired, that just means you haven't paid the subscription, and which again doesn't mean you can't use this. It just means they won't automatically come to your computer. And ultimately, if you want to get more into this and start really using the power of Lightroom, you'd
Yes.
want to reactivate your subscription, Beverly, which is like $9 I think now it's $9 or $12 a month. But that allows you to have access to the full suite of photography tools, both on your phone and on your computer. If you're not subscribed, you can still do everything I'm going to show you today, just the photos won't automatically go to your computer.
Okay, well, what about when it gets to Lightroom, it says location, photos, Apple Intelligence, search, notifications, background, app refresh, cellular data. What
Okay,
is,
hold on. So you've gone to the settings of your phone.
what?
You went to the where are you still in the Lightroom app, or did you go to the settings on your phone, Charlie?
I went there and then it took me to Lightroom in my app.
In your app. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can make this just happen.
At the top, does it say allow Lightroom to access?
Yeah,
That's where I am too.
Hold on. I'm gonna get there on my phone. Give me a sec. I just have to do it on my phone and then I have to share the screen with you. Hold on. Settings,
Location while using.
apps. Hold on.
I just have location.
I'm gonna show you.
Never.
Stay there. Just hold on. Be patient. Okay. Let me just remirror the phone. Okay, so if you look here, hopefully, come on. I'm still here, hold on. I'm just trying to get my phone to connect. Connect. Come on. No, it doesn't want to let me connect to the screen. But if you go to, I'll talk you through it. So you go to the settings and you go to apps down at the bottom, and then you go to
Yeah.
L for Lightroom.
Yep.
Okay, and then it's going to say allow Lightroom to access.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to read out what it should say, what you should have. The first one, location, should be while using.
Right.
While using the app. You can click on it and you check while using the app.
Okay.
The second one, it says photos. I want you to click on limited access. Otherwise, you're going to start commingling your two photos, your Apple photos.
Adam, may I just ask for clarification about something? This
Sure.
is only if we didn't already get the screen that you are trying to get us. I'm not
Well,
supposed to.
well, actually, I think you could all do this just to check that it's set up properly. There's no damage in doing it. So everyone go to just scroll up from the Lightroom app. Just close the Lightroom app. Go to the settings, like your main normal settings. Go to apps at the bottom. Then find, in fact, I just managed to get it working. There we go. Then find Lightroom. So I'd go to apps here, and then I'd find Lightroom under L. Lightroom. Oops. And then I'd get this menu. Let's make sure everyone's is set up properly. Okay. Let me know when everyone's there. I don't want to run away. Everyone there? Okay.
How about, I have another one. I have Apple Intelligence and Siri.
Yeah, that's down here. That's here. It's on the list. The fourth one down here.
You click on it?
No, not yet. We're gonna start at the beginning.
And we only want limited access, not full access.
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna redo it now. You can all see my screen. So I'm gonna start from the top. So the first one, location, click on it and do while using the app. Check. You should all have this. It should look the same on all of your phones. And then precise location. If it's not on, I want you to turn it on, please. That means your photos get what's called geo-tagged, which means if ever you want to search for photos from Hawaii, you just type in Hawaii and they will come up.
And what are you clicking on?
Precise location. Can you guys see my phone big enough, or is it really small when I share it?
I
Yes,
can see it.
It's
yes.
good.
It's good? Okay, perfect. Good. So we're going to go while using the app, and we're going to turn precise location on.
That's under limited access, Charlie.
Yeah.
Photos.
It's under locate. No, it's not. It's under location, Joanne.
Oh, sorry.
I'm purposely going from the top, and I'm going nice and slow. So everyone can follow
My
me.
mistake, sorry.
So that's location while using the app, precise location. Again, you're going to have the recording of this, so you can go back and look at it if you need to look at it. The next one, so I just hit back on the left. The next one says photos. I'm going to click on it, and I want limited access. definitely not full access.
Will you explain to
not?
me why we don't want full access? Because mine's already says full access, so I'm
Yeah.
curious.
Because what I
Yeah.
really want to do is I want to create a divide between the photos you take on the Apple photo camera, like the normal camera, and the Lightroom camera. If you have full access, check, then a lot of those photos are going to start coming into your Lightroom app without you wanting them. So for example, if
Okay.
you take a picture of a receipt, I don't want a picture of a receipt coming into your
Got
Lightroom app. So what limited access does is limited access means that only the photos that you take with the Lightroom camera are in the Lightroom app. It doesn't start trying to bring everything else over.
Okay.
Okay?
Oh, that's interesting.
Everyone with me?
Mhm.
Which is, we really want to do that. We want to kind of draw a line in the sand and say, these are our documentary photos, these are our creative photos.
Right.
And it-
So if mine then, because I don't have any photos that were designated specifically for Lightroom,
Mhm.
then after I hit that limited access, it shows all these photos and says, okay, now select the ones you really like to have in Lightroom. So I could do that. If I
Correct.
have some things on my camera that I would
Yes.
like to have designated, I could do that, correct?
Yes, I'm just
But I
trying
don't
to.
have to.
You don't have to. Correct.
All right, thank you.
got it. You got it. And what will happen for Suzette and for Joanne and for Beverly and for those of you who've never used the Lightroom camera before, as you start using it and taking pictures on, which we're going to kind of spend the second half of today looking at, then only the pictures that you take using the Lightroom camera will appear like in the grid in the Lightroom app, which is
Got
good.
it.
And then they'll also go over to your Lightroom Classic on your computer. Joanne, you look like you have a question.
No,
Okay,
I'm with you.
cool. So let's carry on. So everyone got this?
Yep.
And everyone's following along? Good. Okay, next obvious one, and again, if you've never used it before, we want to make sure that Lightroom has access to your camera. So that has to be on.
That's not even on my,
It has to be.
No.
It's
It
not?
may not be on yours, Charlie, because you may have not got far enough in the Lightroom app yet. There's a point you get to, like as you're signing up, that says enable camera sharing, and you have to hit OK. But it should, if it's not there, you just need to do a little bit more on the Lightroom app. Don't worry about it for the time being. But if you've got it there, please, everyone turn it on. Next one, if you've got it, Apple Intelligence and Siri. We're going to make sure all of these are turned on.
Are off, did you say?
On.
Oh, sorry,
You
Wait a
can
minute,
see,
did you say?
got it.
you can see my screen. Look, nothing.
Oh,
they're
you
all-
want those on?
I want
Oh,
those. I want
I
those on.
got it.
I want those on.
how about suggested notifications?
Yeah, turn that on,
Yeah,
please.
that's on mine too.
Yeah. So again, like every iPhone is going to be slightly different, the menu, but it's basically the same. So if you see anything that's not on my screen, just ask me. But yeah, I turn that on. Okay, so essentially all of those are on. Again, rationale behind that is there's a lot of like very smart AI technology that's being built into the iPhone. Like if you wanted to, you could like say, hey Siri, open my Lightroom app. And it will open your Lightroom app if this is turned on. So essentially you can just open it with your voice. That's one of many things that you could do. So have all those on because that's going to be helpful for you over the next 1 to 3 years as the technology continues to improve. Come back again. Next one is search. This one's really important. Make sure they're both turned on. This means if ever you lose the Lightroom app on your phone, you can drag your screen down, type in LIGHT, and it will pop up. Otherwise, it could get lost in your like 100 apps on your phone. So both of these are going to be on. And some of this may be set to you. I'm just more making sure that we've all got the right settings. Next one, notifications. This is really important. So if you've got it off like that, the screen's going to look like this. If you turn it on, you're going to get a whole load of
You
things.
turn it on?
So
Oh,
no, I'm saying if you may have it off. If it's off, you're just going to see one line like this. If it's on, you're going to see a whole thing like this. Again, this is very, very easy and everything's going to stay on. This just basically means if something happens with the app or there's an update, they'll tell you. The only thing that sometimes changes on people's phones is halfway down when it says here, lock screen appearance. I want you to click on it and don't put always, put when unlocked default.
Yeah, that's.
Mine says show previews.
Yeah. And then
Yeah,
what's the,
and then underneath that.
and then underneath that, Charlie, there's options.
What, when unlocked?
Yeah,
Okay.
when unlocked, you got it.
Okay, got it.
Sorry, I can't make the phone any bigger than this. Hopefully you guys can read the text,
That's
okay?
It's good.
Okay.
Okay, so
Yep.
let me explain what that is. That means that when the iPhone's locked and you want to quickly get to your Lightroom camera, I don't want you to have to like unlock the phone, put in your passcode, do your Face ID, because by then you miss the picture. So this just means that basically it's open in the background the whole time, as long as you leave it open. Everything else on here. I'm not going to waste time looking at it because it's not really relevant.
And I have announced notifications off.
I turn that on.
Okay.
I have notification groupings.
Let me go back.
Automatic.
Oh,
Just
yeah,
like there,
yeah,
just like
yeah,
he has on his at the
it's
bottom.
there. It's
Yeah.
there. It's there. Look, automatic. Look at mine and just copy. All you got to do is copy my settings.
Well, ours are a little different.
I know yours are a little different, but if you're not sure of anything, just tell me and I'll tell you whether it needs to be on or off. Or are you missing what's the extra one, Joanne?
I don't have those two on the bottom.
I
Okay.
don't
I
have
don't
the two on the bottom either.
So don't worry. Doesn't matter. These, as I say,
Okay.
these are setting stuff up, but it's not crazily important. Background app refresh 100% needs to be turned on if you've got it, and so does cellular data.
Okay.
Don't
Yeah.
have that.
Don't have that.
If you don't have it, don't worry. But some of you will have it.
Oh,
Just depends what iPhone you've got. It's just we're not all on the same model of iPhone. Okay. But hopefully that runs through all of the kind of Lightroom apps,
Yeah.
like the stuff, and then you hit back at the top, and then you hit back again, and then I don't think it's going to let me do it while I'm sharing my screen. But you guys would just close this. You'd swipe away from it. I got to do it on my phone, and then I'll bring it back up. Okay, see if this works. No. Okay, everyone see my screen again?
Mhm.
yes.
Okay, good. I'm going to go back to Lightroom. Okay, now you're not going to see what I see here. And you may see a list, you may not see a list. You're not going to see any of this because this is all things that I've created. But the important thing to note is think about on your computer in Lightroom Classic. Most of you are familiar with using the library and the develop module. It's exactly the same on the phone. Here, I'm just in the library module. They call that light. You just click on Lightroom down at the bottom. And when eventually you have pictures in here, if you don't already, you're going to see them as a grid. You can click on the pictures. You can go backwards and forwards, look at them. You can, if I'm like, oh, great, I want to send this to my wife, like I can click the little, I'll draw to it actually up here. In fact, yeah, yeah. That's my dog Teddy. He's a Cavapoo. He loves finding small spaces. He's a 32-pound dog, but he loves being confined. So if I click up here, okay, then that's basically the share button. Go away. And then actually interesting, there's a few things you can do here. One, if I just want to like send it to my wife, I hit share. And then it's going to come up with, do I want to text it? Do I want to email it? All the normal stuff, like sending something from the app. So I could text it to someone. But there's also something down here that says save copy to device. One of you asked this question. I can't remember who. I think it was Suzette.
Oh, Jenny. I think it was Jenny.
Oh, Jenny. One of you basically said, if I take something in the Lightroom app and I want to get it over to the Apple side,
Oh, sorry.
how do I do that? And that's just by clicking this.
No, I'm not on that.
Because when it's in Lightroom, it's not, and Joanne, you're not going to have this because you've never taken a photo. But I'm kind of, you've got the recording and you can go back and have a look, is this would drop it into my Apple Photos if I wanted to. There's some like kind of cool stuff you can do here.
So it would drop it into just your normal collection of,
your normal like rainbow photos. Yeah.
okay.
And like I can do all kinds of things. I can put a frame on it and then I could do the same thing and I could go share it, and then now I can either text it, I can save it. But whenever you see save, that means saving it to the Apple side. Exactly the same as Lightroom on your computer. You can think of Lightroom on your phone as this like virtual darkroom where nothing you really do is real. You never need to hit save. You never need to you can always go back. You can always, if you crop a photo, you can always get back to the original crop. Everything is what's called non-destructive. It's a big, big advantage of Lightroom over any other photo program. You basically can't screw anything up because you can always go backwards. Okay? But before this kind of silly me showing you the photo side of things, let's first talk about how to actually take the photos.
Yes, I would like to figure that one out.
So and we're going to go nice and slowly here, and I'm glad I can show you my phone because it makes things much easier, is you should all see, even if this may say no photos, like in the middle, and there's just a black screen, that doesn't matter. Down on the bottom right, for some of you, it will be on the bottom left. Depends which iPhone you've got, but you should see this blue camera. I want to make sure you've all got it.
No, I don't even see it.
Okay, make sure down at the bottom, Charlie, that you've hit on Lightroom. There's a few different words you can hit at the bottom there. Device, Lightroom, community.
I just have help and support and a whole bunch of other things.
Okay, you're in the wrong place. So you
You
need to
want
go.
Lightroom at the top?
If you want to kind
I
of
have no photos found.
okay, then what what does it say right at the bottom?
Oh, Lightroom. Mhm.
Okay,
Okay.
you got that?
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Mine's going back clear to November. I mean, I've got all my photos are coming up in Lightroom.
Don't worry. We'll get, but the main thing is I just want you guys to be able to get to the camera. I want you to all click on this blue camera. I'm going to click on it here. Okay, it's not going to show me the picture. I have interest. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I have
not
no
what mine is showing.
Well, no, yours. Oops, a daisy. I don't want to do that.
It says allow and don't allow. You
Allow, because you've never used it before. That's why, Charlie, you didn't have that camera setting available when we were looking at the list.
Oh, now it's blank. Okay. So I'll just take a picture.
No, don't take a picture yet. Just wait. We're going to set it. We're going to hold your horses. Okay, now annoyingly, this has flipped my phone. So it's if I'm going to try and let's see if I can show you, because everything's basically the same, but your stuff is all going to be horizontal. So everything's going to be horizontal. Mine, for some reason, is running down the side, but it doesn't matter.
Mine doesn't have anything.
It will do in a minute. Don't worry.
Oh,
Okay, so if you point your cameras, if you're going to take a picture, you should see whatever you're looking at, as if like you're in the normal Apple camera. You should if you pointed at the
Very
screen,
blurry.
you should see. It doesn't matter if it's blurry, but you should see something. Mine annoying. Oh, there we go. I just switched my phone around. There we go. That's great. Okay, hold on. Let me put my phone up on a stand so it's. Hold on. I'm going to put it over that. Okay. So you should see, and now all my letters and everything are the right way around. At the very top, I'm going to draw. Very top up here. You should see 3 letters.
DNG.
Good.
DMG.
And we want to make sure that that is on DNG and it's not on JPG, JPEG. So we're going to just click on it and make sure it's on DNG. Who can remember what DNG stands for?
done.
Digital negative.
Good. Digital negative. So that is a raw file. That's what I was talking about. Is that a big advantage of Lightroom is we've taken this raw format, which has more dynamic range, it has more light, it has more color, it has more contrast, it has more clarity. There's tons of advantages, but it's a bigger file. I never want you using the Lightroom app and taking it in JPG. Should be, and it won't change. Unless you click up there, it won't change. Okay, so that's the first thing we're going to set up. To the left of that, kind of hard to see here, but there's like a lightning bolt and it's got a line through it. Yours may not have a line through it. This is the camera's flash, or Lightroom wanting to use the flash. I want you to make sure that you click on that and put it on off. It may well be on auto. Flash on the iPhone is terrible. Terrible. And there's much better ways to get light than using what it uses the flashlight on your phone. But for the time being, we're going to turn that off. Okay? Everyone there with me?
Yep.
Okay. This one, it's not going to do anything. And then if I go over to the right-hand side, let's just get rid of this. Flash it. There's this little symbol of like the camera with the arrows in it. That just flips the camera, so it's either facing you or facing back. Same as Apple.
Say that again? It what?
It flips it, so it's either using the front-facing camera, as in like you're taking a picture of you, like a FaceTime call.
Selfie.
Like a
Oh,
selfie, or it takes a picture of it. Because remember,
gotcha.
you've got a camera on the front of your phone and more cameras on the back. That just flips you between the two cameras. And again, that's something sometimes people get stuck and they're trying to take a picture of a flower and they're looking at a flower, but they look at the screen and all they see is themselves. You're using the front camera instead of the back camera.
Terrifying.
Okay. Underneath that flip camera, you should see 3 vertical dots.
Yep.
Okay. I want you to click on them. And this opens up a series of things that we're going to kind of set it and forget it. They're kind of small and hard to see. It opens up a list of things, essentially a toolbar. The one on the furthest left will go left to right. We'll have some numbers. This is what's called your aspect ratio. The definition of aspect ratio means how long is the long edge compared to how short is the short edge. By default, most cameras, so here's all if I click on it, I just get this thing that says aspect ratio, 16:9, 3:2, 4:3, or like 1:1 is a square. You saw that frame suddenly change to a square. I click back on 3:2, goes back to being more of a rectangle. And if I go to 16:9, it's going to go like more skinny. I want you to put it on 3:2. 3:2 is the standard, like.
Mine is a square.
Okay, so click on, yours probably says 1:1 at the top, Charlie. Click on it.
1:1.
Yeah, click on it, and then you're going to get other options. And one of them should be 3:2. Here, look at the screen, Charlie. Now I've made mine a square. I'm going to click up here on 1:1, and then I'm going to choose 3:2. Everyone managed to do that?
I have no lines, but I have.
No, don't worry about the lines. They're coming up.
Okay.
Okay, the next one, we're not going to worry about too much at the moment, but the next one is the self timer. So if you want to take a picture and then you want a 2-second, 5-second, or 10-second delay, this is how you do it. This is eventually, if you get like a tripod for your iPhone, you start doing slow shutter speed stuff, this is really useful. But for the time being, I want to make sure this is off. So it should have a timer with a little 0 in it. And by the way, what you'll see is as I go through pretty much every tool, where it says DNG up here, as I click on something, it will tell me in yellow where I am. So look, if I click on this and I click on 2, it says timer 2, timer off. So it always tells you like the status of like whatever you're doing is always at the top in the middle. The third one is a grid or looks like it may not look like a grid. It may for you just look like for Charlie who didn't have the grid. And then if you click on that, this gives you the options of, do you want the rule of thirds? Oh, sorry, the first one is halves. That's like symmetrical. I don't want you to use that one. The second one is rule of thirds. You see at the top it says third, which is what I'd like you to have on. And the last one is golden ratio. Oops. The golden ratio. And you'll see as you flip between these, look at the top of my screen. Can you see how it says halves, thirds, golden? See that in yellow at the top? So I would recommend for the time being, we put it on thirds because that matches what you've got on your Apple camera. That's the rule of thirds. And then I would actually, I've got it on here, but I want you to turn it off. This thing on the far right is like a spirit, is a level. You can turn it on, you can turn it off. My camera at the moment is on a bit of a wonk, sitting on my desk on a wonk to get this, but which is why you see that.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? Do I want that illuminated or not illuminated?
Not illuminated, off. Otherwise, it's gonna get too cluttered on the screen.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we want to be in a position where we're taking a 3x2 with what Lightroom just calls thirds, but that's the rule of thirds grid, which we know helps us compose better, and we want to put the subject along one of either the vertical lines or the horizontal lines, or ideally where they meet. Catherine Parker, can you remember where they meet is called?
I think she may have left.
No, she's
No,
not.
she's
here.
there.
I'm
She just
sorry.
had it off. She had her
My
sound off.
video. Yeah.
All right.
I forget what they're called, but I know about them and I use them.
Okay, begins with N and sounds like something you'd have in a bowl of ramen.
Noodle.
There we go. So it's not noodle, but it's nodal. Yeah, there we go. So
Noodles.
they're called nodal points. Okay.
I never knew. I like our noodle points.
Use our noodles for the note. Okay.
If that helps you remember it, then that's great. And sometimes, like, I've sat on like GCA stuff, right? And I've heard judges go like, center of flower, like well framed on a nodal point. That's what they mean. Okay. Sorry, someone is calling me, which is why my screen just turned off. Let me get it back up. Let me cancel the call and get it back up again. Go away. So, hold on. I don't know if you've seen that Apple has this new thing where it now screens calls that come to you, and it makes people like say their name and thing. It's a really stupid system. I hope they get rid of it because lots of people don't realize that they're getting phone calls when they actually are. Okay, let me see if I can get this back up. Okay. Ah,
Yeah.
right. It's not what I want. Okay, let me try again. So start from the beginning. Okay.
Yay.
Okay, great. So back to this menu at the top.
Mhm.
Okay, so we've covered the first three. The next one, which looks like a triangle.
Little pyramid.
Yeah, the pyramid. You'll see when I click on it, it comes up very quickly. It says show highlight clipping or hide highlight clipping. The pyramid doesn't actually change. You just have to click on it to see which one is active. This is because Lightroom knows that the iPhone is not great at capturing bright things, even though we talked about how you'd like tap, but if you don't tap or you don't do anything, it's very easy for your highlights to become overexposed, too bright white, and then we can't rescue them anymore. I don't think you have to have this on necessarily right from the beginning, but it's useful to have. If you have this on, where it says highlight clipping, what you will see is if you happen to have any bits of your photo that are overexposed, you're going to see all these lines in the sky.
Hmm.
It's going to show you that the highlights have been overexposed. Kind of look like they kind of look like zebra lines. But you need to point it at something really bright to be able to see it.
And looking out a window, and it's amazing. It's really lots of lines.
There's lots of lines, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
highlight in that window.
So that's showing you that the highlight. So we don't want to take a photo where we see loads of those lines.
No.
And we're gonna do some stuff in a minute where we're gonna take control of the camera that would stop you seeing that. Some people find that really distracting. They hate having it on because they don't like seeing all the lines. So it's personal choice. I would probably recommend, I think you're all good enough to turn it on, but just know if it's starting to irritate you when you're looking at a landscape and you're seeing loads of lines, that you can come up here and you can turn it on or off. So we want it on, not hide, but show highlight clipping. There's a thing that you may be familiar with on your camera called peaking or focus peaking, which kind of puts lines around things. It's very similar. It's just an indicator to show us if we're overexposed. And one of the worst mistakes you can make in photography is to overexpose the picture.
Ooh, that is interesting.
Because when you overexpose the picture, we can't get anything back. The detail's gone. Even if you're the biggest whiz at Photoshop and Lightroom, you're never going to get that detail back.
Good to know.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Anyone got any questions on that? And again, you can go back through this if you need to and look at the recording. You just take your time and work your way through these. The next one is a little gear icon. Okay? There's 3 things you can do here. Now, personally, this is a personal thing. I have the first one, max screen brightness turned off, just because it uses more battery. And like my eyes are good enough that like I can see the camera absolutely fine when it's at 70% of its brightness. But lots of people, they don't like that and they turn this on. And this means that you'll constantly be, especially if you're out on a sunny day, it can be hard to see the phone. So I would probably encourage you, most people have this on. I have it off. But I have it off, but most people have it on because they want it. The only downside is battery. That's it.
So when it looks like that, that's the off sign?
No,
that's on. Yeah, that's okay, perfect.
That's off. And look at the top where it says DNG Joanne. On.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay. Off, on.
Oh.
So you guys, I want you actually to turn it on, please. So as in the black circle should be over to the right, not over to the left.
Okay.
That's off. That's on.
Yeah.
The next one, geotag photos, should also be on. That just means wherever you are in the world and you take the picture, there's like an invisible stamp put on the back of it and said, I took this in the center of San Francisco, I took this at Carmel Beach, whatever, and then it's going to make your life just Apple does this automatically on their pictures where it groups things by where you take them. You need to make sure this is turned on. And then this third one comes back to what I was talking about earlier today about how the iPhone automatically often will create an HDR. It will bracket and it will make a number of pictures. High dynamic range. But I don't want to see all those pictures. I only want to see the final output. If I check this, I see everything. So I want to make sure which confuses people because suddenly you think you've taken one picture and you see 4 of them and you're like, which is the good one? So turn this off. Correct. So screen brightness on, geotag photos on, save
You
unprocessed.
said max screen brightness on?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, I was surprised at that. Yeah.
I thought
The
you
only
said
reason I
on.
want you to have it on is a lot of people complain to me that they find it hard to see the camera when they're outside a sunny day. And what that does is the screen brightness will get brighter when you're outside, which will mean it's easier to see what you're doing. Screen brightness is really low. It's very hard to see what you're doing. Okay. Anyone else got any questions on any of that? Okay. I'm going to close this. And when I hit, oops, when I hit the three dots, the menu disappears. If I hit the three dots again, it comes back. That's just like it's like an extra menu. So if ever you want to change the grid, or you want to turn the timer on, or you're annoyed about those highlight clipping lines, then you have to turn that on or off. Okay. That covers the top part up here. Okay, now we're going to move to the bottom. The bottom part's kind of the fun bit. It's all about taking the photos. We're going to go down.
I have a lot more stuff at the bottom of mine.
Yeah, I know, because I purposely set it up on how most people's look. But in a minute, you're gonna see yours, Suzette. So the first thing we're going to do is we don't want to be automatic. So if yours says auto, I want you to click on just to the left of the button you press to take the picture. I want you to click on it, and I want you to choose professional.
Mine does say pro.
That's going to bring up a whole load of things, and then it will say,
That's
and then
that's
it will
what
say,
mine did. Yeah.
Yeah, mine's there too.
yeah. Now, out of interest, just so you know it's there, sometimes we know that we need to do an HDR. There's a third option here that says high dynamic range. That's if you want to force the camera to do it without it trying to figure it out on its own.
That's interesting.
And I'll come back to this in a minute, but I don't want to worry about this too much. I want to focus on professional. But I just, if you see down here and it says HDR, just click on it, and you always want it to say Pro. Okay, everyone with me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then we should get this toolbar at the bottom. And we're going to keep this toolbar at the bottom open the whole time. Before we kind of venture into this toolbar, there's a few things though I need to show you down here. Okay. And again, this is going to depend on which iPhone you have. But the first thing to show you is that Lightroom taps into the fact that on the back of most of your cameras on your phones, you have 3 lenses. And you can think of those 3 lenses almost like with a traditional camera. I have 3 different lenses in my camera bag, and I can take one off, put on a different one, take the other one off, put on a different one. Just there, handily, all built into the iPhone, which makes life a billion times easier. You're going to see down here a letter or a series of letters. Unfortunately, you can't see what I'm looking at, but because it doesn't let me share the camera. But you're going to see, if you flick on that, you're going to toggle between W, and out of interest, while I'm clicking on this, look up here in my red circle. You're going to see W, you're going to see UW, and you're going to see T. W, wide angle lens. For those of you familiar with photography, that's about a 35.
That's interesting.
These are great.
That's
I
about.
had no idea.
No.
Hold on. So that's the W is like a 35mm lens. Sorry, someone's calling me again, so I've got to reconnect my phone. Okay, you see that again, everyone?
Yeah.
Okay, so what you'll see is if you like point into your room and you click on this, it looks like a camera lens. It's going to jump between the 3 different lenses available on your camera. Now, depending on what iPhone you have, the focal lengths are going to be a little bit different, but I can give you kind of a rough estimation. The UW, which is ultra wide, is like a 14mm lens.
Ooh.
The W, which is the wide angle, is basically like a 35mm lens. It's how we see the world. We see the world at about 30 to 35mm. And then the T, which equals telephoto, this depends on which iPhone you have. a big reason why people have bought the iPhone 17 is it has a telephoto lens that goes all the way up to 120 millimeters. And if you really push it, you can get it to 200. So telephoto is more zoomed. So as you go, as I'm going down this list, I'm getting more and more zoomed in on the subject. I'm getting closer to it. UW, if you put it on UW and you look in your room's going to look massive. It's almost like we've taken 3 steps back. You look at T, telephoto, it's going to look like you've really zoomed in on the subject. Okay.
Did you use the telephoto for macro shot?
You don't necessarily need to, but you can do because it can help compress the depth of field and create a nice shallow depth of field. Yes, sometimes. If I want to get really close in on a flower rather than have to stick my camera right there, I can be standing 6 steps back, 5 steps back, and I can use the telephoto. Now, the advantage of flicking between these lenses is that you are completely staying in the realm of what's called optical zoom, which basically just means you're using the glass, the lenses on the camera, and you're not letting the computer on the iPhone do any of the zooming. The advantage of that is you lose 0 quality, nothing. So when you're at telephoto, when you're zoomed in on a bird on the tree, or when you're on ultra wide and you're trying to photograph a landscape, you're getting the full quality of the iPhone.
Great.
Now, on any of these lenses, I can't do this, but I'll show you. I can't do this by sharing my screen. But if you click on T, for example, everyone click on T, and then point into your room, and then look at me, hopefully you can see me, and then pinch your fingers like this, your normal pinching, and look at the top, so like open up your fingers, and at the top you should see the word zoom, and there'll be a percentage. So you're going to like open up your fingers like this. And the zoom is going to go all the way to probably, depending on the iPhone you have, somewhere between 300 and 500%.
Wow,
Amazing. Amazing.
500 at the top.
Yeah. Now, again, there's no rule here because it really depends on what iPhone you have. But the better iPhone you have allows you to do more of that pinching zoom without shifting to what's called digital zoom. It's completely iPhone specific. So every one of you is, I don't want to just give you a blanket statement, but essentially you can think of the more that you zoom in, you're going to hit a threshold, you're going to hit a point where depending on your iPhone, it's going to switch from the lens zooming to the computer zooming on your phone. That's called digital zoom. And when we start using digital zoom, we lose a bit of quality. But the advantage, one another advantage of the Lightroom app is that the whole pinch to zoom thing keeps you in optical zoom for way longer than when you're in the normal Apple camera. So in layman's terms, that means you can zoom in on something and it's going to look better. It's not going to look all pixelated and rubbish like it does on an Apple, like the normal Apple camera when you pinch to zoom, pinch to zoom, pinch to zoom, and you just, the whole thing gets really pixelated.
Yeah.
I have a question since I'm playing around with my screen while we're talking.
Yeah.
What does it mean when all these things are outlined in green?
Don't worry, I'll get to it later.
Okay, sorry.
I don't want to defer you. It's jumping ahead.
That's okay. It's okay.
But we'll get to it in a second. Okay. So this is your toolkit for your lenses. This is like your lens bag, where you can switch between your lenses. UW, ultra wide, W wide, T telephoto. And then if you need it on top of that, you can then add in your pinch. And you see at the top, it says it says here, it says zoom, and it will say like 200%, and it'll just keep on going up. I'll have a number up there.
Where's that?
You got a Joanne, you have to pinch out your fingers. You have to look at something and then you have to like pinch.
Oh, I got it. Yes. Got it.
You see it? Okay, has everyone else got it? I just want to make sure we're all following along.
Where do you leave it mostly?
On W most of the time.
On W?
Yeah, because that's like everyday stuff.
Yeah.
It's actually a good question, Charlie. I'd put it on W most of the time. The only reason I'd probably change is UW, ultra wide. I usually would reserve primarily for landscapes because it makes everything look massive. It makes the sunset sky look huge. It emphasizes the leading lines, which is the same as why we'd use a wide angle lens if you had a wide angle lens for your camera. It's exactly the same. The most not it's used for other things, but the most common type is for landscapes. Okay. The W, because it's basically a 35mm lens, and I said we see it about 30mm. That's like the human eye sees at 30mm. That's for like travel photography, like I'm wandering around a market, I'm photographing life, like wandering around a garden. This is like it's like your go-to lens. Most people, if they had a camera, this would be like the lens they'd have on maybe 70% of the time. And then T, which is telephoto, is for maybe like wildlife photography. Catherine asked a good question. It's very good for macro. Like if you want to get right inside a flower and fill the frame, you just use the telephoto lens here. And then you don't have to stand 6 inches from the flower. You could be 3 feet away and you could be filling the frame with the center of a rose or the center of a camellia or whatever it may be. So telephoto also good if you like, I don't know, if there's a bird in the tree and you want to capture the bird. Sorry. You want to capture a bird, then you can do that. So that's the 3 main use cases for why I'd use kind of UW, W, and T. And then you have the ability.
We got to that by clicking on Pro.
Clicking on Pro. Sorry, I'm just my phone.
Yeah.
My phone keeps on ringing, which is why my phone keeps on cutting out. Hopefully if this comes back. Oh yeah, I know. Connection interrupted. Let's try it. Okay, so you click on Pro and then to the right. So this is the button where you take the photo. This is your take photo button. Oh God.
Oh dear.
See, well, usually you don't see this because you don't know my phone's ringing like 1,000 times. Like people are always trying to get hold of me. Sorry, it's just every time there's a phone call, it cuts off the connection.
That's just annoying.
Anyway, so yes, this is the one for take photo. Okay. And then next to it, here's your lens. And it looks like a camera lens. You can see it. And actually, when you click it, it changes the shape a little bit. That's meant to look like a wide angle lens, and that's meant to look like a telephoto lens. But we're going to keep it on W. Okay. This padlock next to it, okay, I want you to, for the time being, to have this unlocked. We'll get to it. This is all to do with something called exposure locking, which again, I don't want to worry about too much at the moment. But just make sure it's unlocked, please.
Unlocked or locked?
Unlocked, exactly as you see it on my screen.
Oh,
Unlocked. Because we're going to control it. I don't want Lightroom to control it just yet.
oh, okay.
Okay, so unlocked. So exactly as you see it on my screen, I want your
Yeah,
screen
I see it now. I thought you were changing it.
And then the last one, which is the circles. It's not going to show me this one. But this basically gives you all these different presets. You can see at the top you can see the words come up and you'll be able to actually see this changing. It just won't let me do it while I'm sharing my phone. But this is basically, you can apply it's almost like a filter to your photos before you take it.
So you see
I want you to have that on none, all the way to the left. So it's these 3 little two little circles down here. And when you click on it, you're going to see more than I see because you're going to see your picture. You're going to see all these different rectangles. Mine's just showing them up as bars. But if you click on any one of them and you can look at the top as I click on one of them, it says flat, warm shadows, high contrast black and white.
Oh, God.
These are presets. So like you could take a black and white straight out the camera using the high contrast black and white, for example. I wouldn't encourage you to do that because you can change it afterwards, but there's a number of different presets that you can apply to the picture. But for the time being, I want you to keep this all the way to the left on none. Otherwise, you'll just be taking loads of black and white pictures. And then to get out of it, you just click on the circles again.
I can't get that yellow to go away.
Make sure that you've clicked on the circles and then gone all the way to the far left and clicked on none. It's the furthest left rectangle, Joanne, over here.
Oh,
Down here. You're going to click on here. That's step number 1. And then you're going to click on the one on the far left. What do you see, Joanne, when you click on the circles?
I'm just seeing the image.
Well, but you should see a whole load of rectangles underneath the image.
Now I do, yes.
And then just make sure you go and click on the one on the furthest left. Can't
Oh,
remember
furthest left.
which
Oh,
says
okay,
none.
there we go. Thank you.
Okay. Cool. So that takes care of like what's called the top toolbar and the bottom toolbar. So we've covered everything up here. We've covered everything down here. Anyone got any questions before I move on to the next step? Okay, so the next step is going to be important because this is where we're going to practice. Like this bar here is essentially all the manual controls for your camera. EXP, SEC, ISO, WB, auto, and reset. I'm actually not going to do them in the order they're here. I'm purposely going to do them in a different order, just because I think it makes more sense. The first one we're going to look at is this one. Oops. Is SEC. That stands for seconds. Okay. And if you click on that, you are going to get a slider come up. It looks like that. This is your shutter speed. You have a black circle that's all the way to the left. See that black circle? I'm messing it. When the black circle is all the way to the left, the shutter speed will adjust automatically, i.e. you're not in control. The minute you move the shutter speed past that little tiny white vertical line, you'll feel like a little vibration. And when you look at the top, look at my screen, everyone, for a sec. Look on the very top of my screen where it says shutter speed. See the numbers changing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's a good phrase to help people remember how Lightroom works, which is always whenever you go to the right, things get bright. So right equals bright. And in this case, when I go to the right, the reason the photo is getting brighter, and you can see this, you can't see this on mine, but you can see it when you look in a room. As you go more to the right, the shutter speed is getting slower. So you're letting in more light and the pictures are going to become brighter. You go to the left, the shutter speed is going to go really fast and the picture is going to be darker. Now, out of interest, which is on most of your cameras, the fastest the shutter speed can go is 1/4000.
Amazing.
On here, it can go to 1/10,000th of a second. Now, that's like, I mean, I can't move my hands that quickly. You never really need that unless you were taking a picture of, I don't know, I've seen photos people take of like a bullet going through an apple and the apple exploding, and it's like something that's so fast. The problem is with that is it lets in very little light, so you have to compensate with other things. But it's useful to know that your range is from 1/10,000 all the way down to 1 full second. That's the slowest you can go. Unlike on your cameras where you can go to kind of 20 seconds, 30 seconds, the slowest you can go on at the moment in the Lightroom app is 1 second. So your shutter speed range is from 1/10,000 to 1 second. That makes sense to everyone?
Mhm.
You all have an understanding of shutter speed, so I'm going through this. I'm not explaining what shutter speed is. If you feel you need help on that, just let me know. But I'm kind of presuming that you know what shutter speed is and what it does. Faster shutter speeds freeze movement, slower shutter speeds show movement. The key to remember here, though, is when we go all the way to the right, the photo is going to get bright. When we go to the left, the photo is going to get dark. And if I go back past that little vertical line again, it will give me a little vibration and it will click back to auto. And then you're back on automatic. The whole point of me showing you how to use this is I don't want you using automatic. You all use cameras. You all know how shutter speed works. Apple gives you no ability to be able to adjust the shutter speed though. So this straight away is like me handing a $3,000 camera into your hand that you didn't have by just having the Apple camera. It's just giving you a lot more control. Most of the time, if I was just going out and not doing anything special, I'd have the shutter speed somewhere between 1/160 and 1/250. That's like letting in enough light, not putting too much pressure, and like freezing everyday movement. And you can actually see it holds the shutter speed that I've chosen down there. If I change it, I click on it, and I change it, you're going to see it now. It will hold down there. 113. Put it up here. 1/2000. Okay. Now, some of you, when you're looking at that, may not see the picture get brighter and darker. And that's because of this next thing. And I purposely kind of reset my Lightroom back to auto so I could show you all of this so you see how you see it. The next one says is your ISO. So we'll skip this one for the time being. We'll come back to it in a minute. You all know that when you use a faster shutter speed, you let in less light. So you have to turn the ISO up. It's like the light bulb inside your camera. Remember, the strict definition of ISO is how sensitive is your camera's sensor to light. Higher numbers equal more sensitivity, lower numbers equal less sensitivity. Higher numbers equal brighter photos, but potentially digital noise. Lower photos equal darker photos, less noise. Now, hopefully you can see here, it's kind of hard to see, but there at the bottom it says A 12,096. If I change the shutter speed and I make it faster or slower, you can see that that number is changing. That's because the ISO at the moment is on automatic. So it's compensating for when I use a fast shutter speed, the number's going up. When I use a slow shutter speed, the number's going down.
I'm not doing that.
You see that number on mine? Okay. But again, you're all good enough where you don't really need to be on ISO auto. So I'm going to click on this and it's going to give me a slider. Again, I'm going to have the black circle all the way over to the left. And I'm going to take it past that line. I'm going to feel a little vibration. And now look at the top. ISO 64, ISO 80, 100, right at the top in yellow. 250, 320, 500, 1,000. Goes all the way up to 10,000. It goes from 64 to 10,000. Remember, going to the right makes things bright. Going to the left makes things dark. So I want you to use this exactly how you would use ISO on your camera. I want you to know, oh, I see a wave that I want to capture all the motion of. So I'm going to take my shutter speed and I'm going to put it at 1/2000. That makes the picture dark. So then I go to my ISO and I adjust it to maybe 1,000 to compensate. It's exactly the same as what you would do with your camera. It's just you've got to get used to where the tools are on your phone. It's the interplay between shutter speed and ISO, which are two of the components on what's called the exposure triangle. They're like constantly playing tug of war with each other. Change one, you have to change the other. Okay. So I want actually, for the time being, I want you to move this black circle in ISO away from being all the way to the left on auto, because what the iPhone tends to do is the iPhone just cranks up the ISO to give you a picture that looks good to your eyes, but it ends up being pretty noisy. Remember, the higher ISO creates digital noise. So I want you to take this and I want you to pull it past that. There's this little, hopefully I can draw quick enough. There's this little vertical line there. When you go to the left of that, you're in auto. When you go to the right of it, you're in control. Is everyone managing to slide those sliders up and down and see the ISO changing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Anyone got any questions on it? Okay. So this to me is really exciting because this suddenly is making your phone so much more like a camera. Which when like everything I've taught you and like the Apple camera and you tap and hold and you change the sun, that's all useful, but it's not really using the full power of the camera that you've got in your phone. We start to use the full power when we take control. I've seen you all send pictures to me at various stages, and I look at the settings, and you've taken a picture of a still life, and the shutter speed is at 1/4000th. And that's just because you had no idea. The iPhone chose it for you. And then the ISO is at like 2000, which obviously you don't need for a still life. You can take the shutter speed all the way down. So you have to think of this exactly how you think about changing your camera. What shutter speed do I need? Is the thing moving fast? Am I on a boat? Am I photographing out of an aeroplane? Well, remember, shutter speed movement is all to do with what are you doing? As in, are you moving? Or are you still? Are you on a tripod? Are you resting your phone on something? And then the second thing is, what is the subject doing? Is it flowers blowing in the wind? Is it a hummingbird? If it's a hummingbird, you got to come here. You got to
Fast, yeah.
make this go. Sorry, I always get the wrong way on this. You got to go to the left. And then, so I'd be like 1/5000, and then I'm like, okay, now I just adjust my ISO, and this changes in real time. You'd see this get brighter and darker as you're doing this. You can play with it. You can point in your room now. You'll see as you change these numbers, the scene is going to get brighter or darker. And that's the interplay between shutter speed and ISO.
Is there something you recommend to leave it on, just so if you had to do a quick grab shot?
Absolutely. So I would put the shutter speed on, as I said, somewhere between 1/160th and 1/250. Any of those three would be fine. There's another one in the middle there. And then I always recommend keeping the ISO as low as possible. So I would have the ISO at 100 to start off with. If I knew I was just like wandering around the garden in good light, it wasn't shady, it wasn't really dark, it was a nice sunny day. I'm not looking to do anything crazily special. I'm not freezing a waterfall. I'm not showing the motion of the waterfall. I just want to capture the image as I see it. Those would be my go-to settings. And those are what I'd keep it on. And they kind of act as your kind of launch pad to then say, oh, actually, I really need a faster shutter speed, or actually, I really need a slower shutter speed, depending on what you're doing. Remember that when you go down to the slower shutter speeds, when you go to start going down here, 1/20th, 1/10th, 1/5, any of these, what do you think is going to happen to the picture when I'm holding my camera?
It's going to shake.
Yeah, so what are we going to see? What's it going to look like? Is it going to be nice and sharp, my picture?
Blurry, brighter. Mhm.
It's going to be brighter, but we're going to see it's going to be blurrier. We're going to see what's called camera shake. So it's exactly the same as your normal camera. So when you start going, and on an iPhone, you've got a little bit more wiggle room because you don't have this big lens that pokes out from the camera, which causes more room. But I would say anything below 1/30th of a second there, anything 1/20th, 1/10th, 1/6th, 1/2, anywhere once you go slower than 1/30th, you pretty much have to rest your camera on something, your phone.
Mhm.
And like Pete, there's tons of tripods you can get for iPhones. I think I may have shown you this, but I don't know if you can see. I can't see myself here. Can you guys see this? So I
Not
have. I
very
don't
well.
know. Let me see if I can get something here. So I have on my phone. I have this little stand
Oh,
that comes out, which basically just it means I don't have to have a tripod the whole time, and my camera just balances on my hand like this, or I can flip it the other way. I can't. My phone's plugged in at the moment, but this is a great little. You can buy. There's lots of things like this. I mean, you don't have to carry around a tripod, but if I want to do a slow shutter speed photo of a waterfall, I just rest my camera on the rock with this little stand.
Hmm.
I'll send you the link to the they're very popular, and it just closes up like that.
nice.
Yeah. So it's just kind of like a tripod in your case. And this is like $30 this case, like it's not expensive at all. And it just means you don't have to carry around a tripod. Okay. So anything slower than 1/30th, default, we know we can't handhold the camera. Otherwise you're going to get camera shake. Okay. Let me reshare my screen again. Okay. Back to my phone. You see that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now I'm actually going to work backwards. We're not going to cover all of these things. I don't want to we'll leave these two for next time. But let's go backwards to this one that says EXP. Once you've dialed, if you know I need a really fast shutter speed, I'm just going to play through a hypothetical. You're photographing a hummingbird and your feeder happens to be in like the eaves of your house. So the hummingbird is in the shade when the hummingbbird's coming in, out, in, out. I know I need a shutter speed of 1/4000th to get the hummingbird. So I take this and I put it to 1/4000th, like that. That makes the picture brighter or darker, Catherine Allen.
Darker.
Good. So then I'm going to come to my ISO and I'm going to take my ISO up to compensate. Now, again, this depends on your iPhone, but most iPhones, once you go above ISO 2000, the photo starts to get really noisy. You can kind of rescue it in Lightroom afterwards, but you don't necessarily have to. So I would set 2000. It goes all the way to 10,000. That doesn't mean you need to use that. I would set 2000 as my upper limit for the ISO. Any higher than that, I know it's going to become very noisy. When you have more noise, you reduce the dynamic range. The photo ends up just looking a bit like blah, flat. Okay. Now imagine I'm taking this picture and I'm at 1/4000, I'm at ISO 2000, but the hummingbird still looks really dark. I have, and you have the same on your camera, but I have here under EXP, I basically have a digital cheat. Although, why is it not letting me click on it? Hold on. That's funny. Why is it grayed out? You guys, I don't know why it's grayed out.
Mine's stuck too, so I don't
Mine
know.
won't work.
Oh, I know why.
It's because we have it on, isn't it?
It's because hold on, let me just reset this. Just hit reset on the right-hand side.
Ah,
That little arrow.
Now that resets everything.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm gonna put it back. So we'll go 1/4000. Exposure. Oh, I see. Okay. It locks it. I was just looking what it was actually doing. When I slide the ISO, it locks it. Keep the ISO on auto just for the time being, just so I can show you this. I just want you to see what it is. I don't use this very often, but it's there and I need to show it to you. When you click on it, this is called exposure compensation.
Mhm.
And this is exactly the same as you have in your camera. It's like having a digital cheat. It's like having a light bulb inside your iPhone. Remember, right is bright. And if you look at the numbers, look at the top of my iPhone. This is stops of light. So I can say I want the picture to be 1 stop brighter. I want it to be 2 stops brighter, or I want it to be 3 stops brighter. As a reminder, when you gain one stop of light, so when you jump from like 0 to 1 or 1 to 2, when you gain 1, that's called an f-stop, you gain 1 f-stop, that means you double the amount of light. As you go from 0 to 1, the amount of light doubles. 1 to 2, the amount of the light doubles. 2 to 3, it doubles again. And the same is true if I go the other way. I go down here, -1, that halves the amount of light. -2 halves it again, -3 halves it again. And this slider exactly corresponds, for those of you familiar with Lightroom on your computer, the very first slider you have on when you edit on your computer is called the exposure slider. And you can slide it up to the right and things get brighter, and you can slide it down to the left and things get darker. This is exactly the same thing, it's just in the camera. So it's kind of like a digital cheat that allows us to manually, without kind of controlling movement or noise, just say I want the photo to be a little bit brighter, or I want the photo to be a little bit darker. A really common scenario for using this would be like, I need to use a fast shutter speed, but I'm in a dark place. Or it's like getting close to nighttime, or I'm in the shade. But I know my shutter speed is my non-negotiable. I can't drop the shutter speed to 1/500 to let in the light, because otherwise the cheater I'm trying to photograph is going to be blurry. So that's when you'd use the exposure compensation. So you have 3 tools here, and I'll draw. So this is exposure comp. This is shutter speed. Shutter speed. And this is already there, but this is ISO. Just being able to control those 3 things instantly will help you elevate your iPhone photography to like another level that you've never been able to do before. It's a bit of a learning curve at the beginning, because you've got to remember about the shutter speeds and the ISOs, which normally on an iPhone you don't have to even think about. But in the long run, it's going to give you much, much better results. And hopefully, I want to make sure I'm just not leaving anyone behind here. Does everyone knows what shutter speed is here, right? Okay, and if you don't, and you don't feel comfortable sharing, you can always send me an email and just say, Adam, I didn't get that, and I can help you out. But I'm taking it that we all have this level of knowledge, that we know what shutter speed is, we know what ISO is, and we know what exposure compensation is. Okay? And we're going to use the 3 different lenses. Down here, here's your lenses. And we're going to, from today, I want you guys to start using the Lightroom camera to practice and to take your quote unquote serious photography. Okay? Covered a lot today. You'll have the recording. Anyone got any questions? We'll carry on. There's tons to see in the Lightroom app. But I don't want to overwhelm you. I've shown you a lot already. So I want you, even those of you who've got cameras and are used to going out and taking cameras, I want you to force yourself to take some pictures with your iPhone as well. That's the whole point of why we're doing this class. We're doing the class to focus on the phone, away from the camera. So I am going to give you a theme, and I want you to manually control the shutter speed and the ISO and the exposure compensation. I don't want you being lazy and just putting on auto. And I want to give you the theme of okay, I'm going to give you a somewhat, you guys are, most of you are pretty like more advanced. I'm going to give you a little bit more of an abstract theme. I'm going to give you the theme, as good for this time of year as well, of growth. GROWTH. interpret as you will. But the main thing is, to be honest, I really don't care what you take photos of. I just want you taking pictures and getting used to using the Lightroom app. If you're having any troubles or any difficulties, don't suffer in silence. Please send me a message, okay? On next, we've got two of these classes, which is nice. Our next one is on, let's just check my
April
diary.
1st.
April 1st.
April Fool.
April Fools, there we go. If you guys can send me I'll send you a reminder, but if you can send me the pictures a day or two before, that's great. Please try not to send them to me on the morning of the class. And then I'd like to take a look at how we've done, and then we'll carry on looking at the Lightroom app, and we'll learn some new fun stuff we can do on the iPhone, okay?
So if we're on that Lightroom app for taking pictures, will it stay on that? Or do I have to always put it on that to take a picture?
What do you mean? What you mean when you normally just go to the camera?
Mm-hmm.
No, you've got to click on Lightroom. You've got to click
Always.
on Lightroom.
You always have to remind it to go to
That's where I told you to move it to the first page. Yeah. And there's some
got it.
clever stuff we can do in the long run where we can like allocate one of your buttons and that can like straight away jump to the Lightroom app. We're just not quite there yet. Okay. So I will see you on April. I'll stop the recording.